What makes you cringe in social interactions? When you're telling a story and midway you realize it's pointless and no one cares, yet you need to finish it. My best friend would just start to stammer and be like, and then, fuck it whatever, light up a cigarette, and then walk away. It was hilarious to watch. When someone starts to say something and gets cut off, then they keep trying to tell their story, but other people keep talking over them. It's so sad. If I'm ever in a situation when I hear someone start to tell a story and get interrupted, I always try to make sure that person has time to talk. Example, if there's a lull in the conversation, I'll say, "Eternitarian, what were you saying before?" So they get a chance to share. I hate when people cut me off when I try to tell a story, so I always try to make sure others don't have to deal with it. Someone you've just met shares too much personal / painful / uncomfortable information as a way to add to the conversation in a group. As in somebody says they had to spend time with their dad that afternoon, and the person drops a bomb like, "Well, my dad molested me, so we don't have a relationship." No one knows how to handle that, and usually that person will do that type of thing all the time, no matter who they're with, or whether they've known the individuals long. I never know what to do with oversharers. Asking what someone said more than 2 times. When somebody changes their opinion right in front of you because they are too afraid to disagree. Them, "Man, I really love the movie Shutter Island." You, "It was okay I guess. I just wasn't a big fan of it." Them, "PSHH yeah I know. I hate that movie." Being in a group with your friends, but that guy's there. You know who I mean. That fucker that everyone likes but you. He isn't funny, he isn't fun to be around, he's a dick, but everyone else likes him. And he says something that makes you want to vomit and everyone else either agrees or laughs. Even after you give him a chance or 4. He's just not likable, but somehow he's Mr. Popular. The incredibly contradicting person. The one who will disprove a fact, even though everyone is just having fun. The worst part is they're wrong 85% of the time. When you think that someone is waving at you, so you smile and wave back, only to realize that they were waving at someone completely different. When you show a friend something funny that you found on the internet and they don't even remotely look entertained, then you have to pull the whole "well in the situation I was in it was a lot funnier." When people use memes or internet references in public. When someone asks, "So what do you do in your spare time?" Person 1, basketball, bowling, paintball, volunteer at retirement homes. Person 2, play the piano, cello, drums, and guitar. Me, I do internet stuff, like Reddit. Every time I'm at a nice restaurant with my parents and the waiter says, "How was everything?" my dad always jokes, "Oh, it was terrible." The problem is that he really doesn't have a jokey voice. He always sounds really serious, so I know that these poor put upon waiters have a moment of "oh shit, what am I going to do to salvage this?" moment before dear old dad throws in an awkward haha. No, it's great. Please stop giving waiters heart attacks, Dad. Winking and finger guns. Why won't I stop? Watching my dumpy middle-aged aunt tries to speak Spanish and flirt with waiters at the Mexican restaurant. They don't like you, Claude. The nachos always look like that. They didn't give you extra sour cream. Jesus God, why did we bring you here again? When I'm saying something that isn't interesting to people and I don't always pick up on it. I remember once a guy at a work lunch cut me off part way through and just said, "Cool story bro," in front of the whole table. I didn't share much from then on. Silence can be a beautiful thing. It's a perfect break to catch your breath and reflect upon the conversations you've just had, or just a moment to sit and enjoy your surroundings. I love having conversations that have breakpoints per se, where you can just relax and enjoy the brief pause. In these moments of silence you can also think of something spectacular to change the subject to, or maybe you may have had a few brief moments to think of something to add to the conversation you were just having. This is why I like talking to the older generation so much. They seem unfazed by the constant bombardment of information that is our current society. They can sit and just enjoy the world and listen to all its wonderful sounds, and it's almost musical in a way. I know an elderly gentleman who lives near my parents who goes out and sits on the corner and just observes the world every day. Sometimes I stop and talk to him, but not too long, because I don't want to disturb his peace. What makes me cringe in social interactions? So many people have forgotten the beauty of silence and treat it as if it's boredom or an awkward moment. It's never awkward for me. Please don't speak unless you can improve upon the beautiful silence we are enjoying. The pretentious douchebag who needs to turn everything into a coolness and intelligence competition, of which he would certainly be the winner. Hi. Good thanks. Thanks for shopping at Big Lots. You too. My inability to speak to anyone without turning red and sweating profusely when people want you to agree with their racist remarks. You know what doesn't? That host who takes your hand and drags you around to meet people. Be that host all of your life, even if it's not your party or there isn't a party. When you have to utter the dreaded "I guess you just had to be there" after telling a joke that falls short, missing a handshake or high five. Oh my god. I remember this girl I liked throwing up the high five signal, and I was a bit too far away, and instead of walking up to her and giving her a proper high five, I just kind of high fived the air 2 inches from her hand. When you accidentally start talking at the same time as another person, then both of you stop talking and say, "Oh, sorry, you go ahead." "No, you go first." Now both of you are hesitant to continue, but you seize the opportunity and finish your statement. Meanwhile, the other speaker appears to be listening to you, but they're really thinking you interrupted me for this shit. Apostrophe. When someone walks up to you looking like they are about to punch you, then start laughing and tell you to relax and not be so serious. When you don't know everyone but they all know each other, so they're talking and having fun and shit, but you're sitting in silence, not knowing who to talk to or what to say. Starting a new job, meeting all the people that have been there a while and know each other well. A job is a wonderful place to meet new friends, but at first it can be so awkward. My lack of social skills and my cringeful voice. I hate overly long speeches at birthday parties or speeches made by friends. They are so awkward for everyone involved. When someone makes a joke that no one thinks is funny and just laughs at it themselves. When I make a highly inappropriate remark, usually the type of thing everyone thinks but nobody says. Example, asking my 7th grade geography teacher if she was pregnant, and after she awkwardly denied, I proceeded to explain the origin of the question in my mind, trying to justify such enormous lack of touch by basically saying that she was fatter than the previous semester. People who excessively talk with their hands. That being said, I excessively talk with my hands and have been known to accidentally slap people as I'm talking to them. I'm trying to stop. It's hard when you see someone you know but don't like on the street and you try and ignore them, and you know they are trying to ignore you too, but you end up getting so close that one of you has to say hi. Then you have to talk. When people take rejection poorly and get all awkward. When a person you do not like shows up and tries to talk to you. Basically anything that I have to do as a way to makes me cringe on the inside. Like the other day I was at work. Even though none of the servers pull tips, we still have a system in place where we rely heavily on each other's support. One aspect of this codependency involves greeting the customers that have just sat down. Officially, it's supposed to be within 30 seconds. The party gets sat, and the nearest available waiter or waitress has to do the whole "Hi, how's it going? Can I get you something to drink?" It's a good system because you can't be everywhere at once, and it's nice to know that if you get stuck in the back wrapping up a bunch of doggy bags, for example, that the rest of your customers aren't going to be left out to hang, waiting for someone to show up, slowly steaming, thinking all the while of how somebody is going to pay for this. It's going to be the server. It's going to be reflected in the tip. But it goes both ways. Every once in a while you ask if they'd like to start out with a drink and you get ambushed by a "We're actually in a rush. We'll give you everything right now. We are ready. We are really hungry." And then you're committed. You can't be like, "Well, you see, I'm only here for the drink order." People hate that nonsense. Going to a restaurant, trying to figure out who does what. It makes sense that I just take over, do what I can, try to help out wherever possible. Like I said, I found myself in this situation the other day. An older couple, they were definitely from out of town. They were hungry and in a rush, so they gave me everything. Fine. I took their order, I went to put everything in the computer, and then I proceeded to get the drinks ready. The man wanted a Coke, and the lady wanted an iced tea, with lots of ice, and extra lemon. Our restaurant has these 16-ounce glasses, and our ice machine spits out ice in giant chunks. The glasses can only really hold 5 ice cubes, but this lady said extra, and I wanted her to see that I was paying attention, and so I kind of put a 6th one on top, and then softly hammered the whole thing in with the back of the ice scoop. I approached the table with a plate of extra lemons balanced on my forearm, and just as I set down that glass of iced tea in front of that lady, she says to me, "Didn't I tell you that I wanted a lot of ice? And my job is not to give people attitude or anything like that. Even if it was, this wasn't my table, we don't share gratuity, and so this wasn't even my money on the line." Really, all I had to do was drop these drinks off, and that would have been the end of my interaction with this man and woman. But I couldn't process this lady's question to me, even though it wasn't a question. It was just a little dart of sentence flung into my neck with a decorative question mark dangling at the end. I didn't have time to smile and be professional. I shot back, "More ice? There are 6 giant ice cubes in that cup. That's the most ice that can fit in that glass." And she looked a little shocked. I was a little shocked. I mean, she was definitely pushing buttons, but rarely in the service industry does button pushing actually result in a server pushing back. That's not allowed. I realized my mistake. Even though the ice was just as she asked, again, it's not my job to push back. It's my job to take all of that bullshit and smile. And like I said before, this wasn't even my tip on the line. So now I not only started to worry about a rudeness complaint possibly heading my way, but I began to feel bad that I was negatively impacting the amount of money that wasn't even going into my pocket. Maybe half a second passed before I abruptly changed my entire demeanor. I put on the most sincere smile I could manage. I said to her, "But I'm happy to get you some more ice. I'll be right back." And I raced back to the kitchen, hoping that I could get this lady some more ice before she even had a minute to think about what I'd said and how the whole situation could have been handled differently. 30 seconds later, I had 2 more cups filled with ice, another 12 oversized ice cubes, in front of her. I finished our interaction with another ridiculously sincere smile, and then I disappeared, hoping that all would have been forgiven, that maybe they wouldn't have even noticed my macro outburst, those 2 or 3 seconds, where I forgot my place, where I was, who I was talking to. Hopefully they left a decent tip.